Welcome to Off the Court, a show dedicated to making you the best version of yourself as a player and as a person. I'm Coach Jack, CEO and owner of Close the Gate Hoops. If you're trying to take your life and game to the next level, this is the podcast for you. Let's get it. We are live. What up, Gatekeepers? Back at you with another episode of Off the Court. Today we have a great topic of eliminating distraction. And we've done a similar thing with this before in previous podcasts. We talked about breaking bad habits. A lot of people try to focus too much on adding things when they first need to find the things that are actually holding them back. And eliminating distractions is one of the best things that you can do to get to your goals faster and to become more likely to achieve those goals. So before I add what I want to talk about, I just encourage you gatekeepers to go leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We currently have 53 5-star reviews. We're on the verge of being able to be ranked, which would be extremely cool and help us influence more lives. So before I say what I want to talk about, Aaron, do you pick this topic? Do you want to dive in a little bit of what you wanted to state about eliminating distractions?
Absolutely. So, basically, the reason I picked this topic is I kind of wanted to, I've been working on this. I've been trying to improve myself in this way. So a lot of times I would go from doing something productive to doing something else, or doing between in the times I have between doing certain tasks, I would use those little times and I would hop on my phone or something, or I would do something that would distract me, and it could turn into something longer than I might want it to. So that's one thing I've been trying to work on, is eliminating these little mini distractions that actually take up way more time in your day than you even think about at the time.
Those in-between times are so important, and they're so small because you don't think they're relevant at all, but they literally affect so much more than you think. Say you're working on homework, right, and then you take a break and go on your phone for 5 minutes. Subconsciously, your brain's trying to process what was just on your phone while you try to learn or study or whatever you're doing. So it's obviously affecting what you're trying to do. Yeah, and
think about how many times you do that during a day. You'll be on working something on your computer and you pick up your phone. And then even when you're on your phone, subconsciously you don't even think about how long you're on it. You don't even think about it. So that's why, eliminating distractions can be a huge thing to becoming more productive, which in our last podcast that we just did, we talked about how being productive was the number one step to self-improvement. Another thing a couple ways that I thought about, or I've been trying to do to eliminate my distraction, is I'm constantly trying to think about my priorities and what I want to do. My number one distraction is certainly my phone. So it's the little tiny moments in between the day where I'll be doing something on my computer and then I pick up my phone and I don't even realize that I've done it. Or I get a text and then I go on the text and I answer the text and then I go to Instagram or something, and it's I don't even think about doing it, but that's the thing, is it's a distraction, and there's ways to eliminate distractions, and you kind of want to take those out of your life, and you don't want to allow yourself to even have access to the distraction.
A good checkpoint to know if you're addicted to your phone is if you text and drive. I think that's a good way to know if you're addicted. If you don't text and drive, huge props to you. You're doing a great job.
You're not addicted to your phone.
Why don't we do that quick? We all go around and talk about our number one distraction. Aaron said phone. I know Connor's is phone, but think of a different distraction that you could do a better job of, Connor.
I don't want to say phone, but phone's definitely a distraction to me. But I would say if I have to do, a big distraction for me is, it's not necessarily a bad distraction though, in my opinion. My distraction is the stock market, especially in the morning. But
it's
what are your guys' thoughts? Is that a good distraction or a bad distraction?
No. We've talked about this many, many times. It's balance, right? You can overuse and underuse everything. If you're in the stock market and you're constantly looking, to me that means you have too big of a position, meaning you have too much money in a stock. And that is definitely a bad distraction. And I know that feeling when you're constantly looking and you're constantly checking the prices. That definitely is not good for you. And I would have to agree that's probably my biggest distraction. I've gotten way better at it though. And for your younger listeners, you probably don't understand this, and we're not going to go into the stock market on this podcast. But I think that's a good one, Connor. So a lot of it's balance, just not doing too much, not having too much money in or too much money out. Find that sweet spot of your balance. And the same thing goes for the phone, right? You need your phone for some things, but not to the point where you're constantly checking it and you're waiting for it to buzz. And I encourage all of you gatekeepers, if you have a phone, to turn it on Do Not Disturb. Yes, it may annoy some people, like my girlfriend, but It's the best way to practice balance with your phone, because that means you only check your phone when you need to, not when it comes up with a ring or a buzz. And that's the best way for me to balance out my phone, is the do not disturb button.
That's cool. I know your do not disturb is off, because when I call you, I have to call you twice. But yeah. So, and it's like a huge part of it, and we've talked about this numerous times, but meditation is a huge thing, because you then can control your own mind, like, because a lot of what happens, a lot of these distractions are subconscious, and you don't even like realize they're happening at the time or when they do. But when you're like the meditation, like you'll be able to have control over that. Or
Well,
like
yeah,
control
it helps you fight cravings.
Right.
I think that's good, Aaron. Eliminating distractions, the best way to do it is you have to think about future results over present results. When you're on your phone, right? Present results is like, I don't want to do what I'm trying to do right now. I'd rather just fill my brain with nothing, so I have higher dopamine when I go through social media. But the future result could be, I get this thing done with CTG so that we can create another program for it. So that we grow faster, therefore we influence more as many lives as we can, right? That's my mindset whenever I'm trying to do something or eliminate distraction. But that goes with the craving. So a good example is when you eat bad food, right? When you eat bad food, that's a present result, right? You just want to you want to have that bad food in your mouth. The second you're done eating bad food, it's so funny, because then you're just like, I regret eating that. For me, that's me every single time. So I've tricked my brain into the point where I only think about future results. I think about myself with a better body, right? When we go on vacation or something, that's the type of future result I would think of before I have that bad food. So that's a huge, huge piece of eliminating distraction.
One of the biggest examples I can think of that I know all three of us have experience with is people. There's people that can be distractions to what you're trying to do,
100%.
or can be in your way of your goals, and that's one of the hardest things, to try to like take a person out of your life, especially if you've become close with them. It's hard to like try to leave people out of your life, but if they're not a part of your path to bettering yourself, then it might be necessary to cut someone off.
They have to be putting some on the table, right? Aaron said this before, a deposit or a withdraw. If they're putting more withdrawals to you than deposits, this person is a distraction.
Yeah.
Right? They're not doing anything good for you, and if it's not getting you closer to that goal or whatever you're striving for, then that is a distraction that you should eliminate. And I'm glad you talked about people, because a lot of basketball players, when someone tells them you got to eliminate distractions, they're like, all right, I got to be a loner. I can't see anyone. I have to do basketball, basketball. That's not necessarily the case. You have to be balanced and just smarter about who you pick to not hang out with, right? Because working out with people, I'd way rather working with other people gets you better faster than working against air.
Absolutely.
100. And I didn't understand this. You don't play against air in the game. So if you have an opportunity, play with someone or play by yourself, you should always pick playing with someone else. Yeah. Right. So that's an example of being smart with the people that you pick, is someone that can come work out with you and do basketball. So you do it at the same time.
Because in that way, they are a part of your path to becoming better. That way they're helping you.
Exactly. So they're a deposit.
Yes.
I think just to add on to that is, if you choose to, instead of obviously playing air, you are working alongside people that have the same goal as you, or want the same path as you, or have anything similar to that. If you work alongside productive people, your focus, not just your focus, but everyone around you, is contagious. And I think that if you surround yourself with those people in your life, you'll become, your productivity towards whatever your goal is, you won't be as distracted.
I think that's a good word you used, Connor, was contagious. And the quote is so true, is that the most 5 people you hang out with is the person you're most likely to become, or something like that. So that's why everyone you're with, they better be making deposits, right? Yeah. Because then you're growing your bank account, because you're getting all these deposits instead of withdrawals. And most people choose too many people of distractions with actually bringing their bank account to below zero, because they're getting so many withdrawals.
And we've talked about before on this, creating like a good team culture. You can do that in your life too. Like, you can create a culture within your own life that surrounds you, that is a successful and healthy culture for you.
No, I get what you're trying to say. That totally makes sense. A good example, honestly, is bringing together. Like I love how my River Fall college buddies, Jake, Kim K, and Croy, have found relationships with even some of my friends in Janesville. But a lot of that is because I know all three of those guys are deposits for anyone else I show them to, just because they make everyone around them better people because they bring their mood up. But that's one of the best feelings in the world is when you bring two groups of friends together. But it's the same concept. You have to be smart about who you're doing that with.
Yeah.
But of course, if you're doing a good job of eliminating distractions, both of those friend groups should be good for everyone in the first place.
For sure.
So one thing I think we need to start diving into in terms of eliminating distractions is routines. And routines is honestly something that we on Off the Court need to do a better job of talking about more. What routines do is helps you create habits of eliminating distraction. And when you're creating habits of eliminating distraction, they become unconscious, right? And when you get to that point, then you're at the point of maximum productivity. So you have to find what routine works best for you. Obviously, like Aaron said, reflect on what your distractions are, progressively eliminate those, and then find the routine that works best around what you've created, right? I think that is the number one key to starting to eliminate distractions, but then keeping them there, right, so that they don't come back.
This is why I liked your Miracle Morning podcast so much, because that was all about how, like, the morning, the first, right when you wake up, it's like one of the most important, it probably is the most important part of your day if you want to have a productive day, because that's how you start out with. If you have a routine right when you start out, you're going to be so much more productive. And
it's like the subconscious, like, I don't know the word, like the aura of knowing that no one else is up, right? We know that life isn't a competition, but you know that you're outworking whoever else is striving for your goal. Because goals, you have multiple people fighting for that one goal, right? There's a very, very small percentage of who actually gets to achieve that. But that's why I think it's so important to have those routines in the morning, like you said, Aaron, because you know you're getting off on the right foot and you're having an advantage over everyone else that is fighting for the same goal.
And when you have a routine, you've already, like, if you know what you're going to do. So then when you complete those three things, it's like, I've already done this. So I'm on a good start. I've already been productive today. And I've just woke up, you know?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about saying this, just obviously talking to these guys, but question for you two. What is the difference between a plan and a routine then?
Okay, so plan is obviously pre-action. It's what happens before, right? So it's basically writing down what you're going to do with your routine, and then the routine's the actual physical present moment action of you doing the plan that you created. So like what I do is I normally plan out what my day is before the next day, right? So I planned out my day yesterday night, and now the routine is the moment right now when I'm talking about this podcast. That's the routine I created from the plan yesterday.
When I think of routine, I think of a consistent thing that you're doing, or like you're doing these like repeated actions in a repeated fashion over a long period of time, if that makes sense, because that in that way your brain is already, you know what's going to happen every single time.
So do you think you need to plan your routine?
You have to plan, like, you have to structure what you're going to do in the segments of a routine. Like an example would be, I work out in the morning, right? Well, if you're smart about working out, you should have a progressive plan to achieve whatever you're trying to achieve. So for example, I'm trying to get my vertical up. So there are phases to your vertical, right? In terms of growing it. So there's going to be stuff that I'm doing differently from week to week. So you have to plan the segments of the routine that you have each day. And like CTG, right? We don't do the same thing every day when we come and walk in here. You have to plan for that. And
a good way to do that is like setting goals for yourself, even just daily goals. Like before you even start, like you have a goal of what you want to accomplish today with everything you're doing. Like if you want to work out, you have to have a goal for what you want to accomplish while you work out. If that, you know what I mean?
No, that's really, really good. Time goals are so important, Aaron, right? Because you should have like near-term goals, daily goals, medium-term goals and long-term goals, because then that gives you an efficient map and an efficient plan for how you want your life to look.
And it improves your mindset after you complete these goals, because you said you were going to do it and then you did it. So it's like you're already
You feel more in control.
yes, exactly.
And again, it might sound like we're getting off topic talking about routines and plans, but having these two things is super beneficial to eliminating these distractions in your life.
100%.
So it correlates very directly with one of our themes of breaking bad habits that we talked about in a podcast earlier. And the biggest thing about that was just staying true to what your values are and knowing what they are and knowing what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. You want to constantly be thinking about your goals and your priorities and thinking about your future self, like Jack said, to be able to eliminate the distractions like quickly, I guess.
You got to be a visionary, right? And one thing that I think people take missteps on is they visualize themselves at the end. You also got to visualize the process, like how you're going to get there. Like I love visualizing myself when I work out, especially when I weightlift, because that makes me truly enjoy the pain of when you lift, to therefore obviously grow much faster, right? So you have to not only visualize the end goal, but also the process to get to that end goal.
Yes, you got to enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say eliminating distractions, we're not saying nonstop 24/7. You should be, again, we always have to debrief a little bit, because we're not always constantly saying just work as hard as you can 24/7 as much as possible. There's times to go on your phone. There's times to be distracted by things, right? Because it's not always about constant self-improvement. I guess you could argue that taking breaks from working hard would be self-improvement.
Yeah, I would argue that for sure, because you're practicing balance, which is necessary.
Yes.
To be your best self.
So again, we're not trying to tell you that you should never ever go on your phone. I feel like I feel like we have to say this, because none of us are perfect either. We all get distracted by things too, and we all have things that we like to do other than work hard. So
you just have to be smart about your distractions. You just got to, it's like with the people, you got to be smart with the people you're with, you're around. Are they making deposits or withdrawals? Are they better for you? Are they worse for you? Same thing with the phone. Are you using it to become a better basketball player? Are you writing down the drills, CTG posts every day? Or are you watching videos of people dancing or knowledge that is completely irrelevant to your life that you're never going to use in the real world? Like, you just got to be smart.
Just to add on with being smart with your distractions, and in terms of like you or yourself, you need a lot of mental like capacity and energy every single day to do your priorities, to do your tasks. With this, it's the little things to help your like mental and physical energy. It's the little things like drinking enough water, getting enough sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, why is that? Maybe it's because of TikTok and you're watching it in bed for 2 hours.
Is that something you do?
A little bit. I mean, not 2 hours though.
I think that's good. Aaron and Connor both touched on priorities, which I'll touch a little more on it. One thing I've been doing is I've been putting on a sticky note my 4 priorities. And my 4 priorities right now are 3v3, defense, vertical, and trading, stock trading. And I put those right in front of my computer. So every single morning I see my priorities, and then I ask myself, is this going to help me towards my priorities or not help me towards my priorities? And will this give me future results towards these priorities, or will these not give me future results? Like, that's one of the best ways to eliminate distractions, is put those priorities right in front of your face every single day.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk about, I can maybe edit this right after Connor got done talking, but I really liked how you talked about your mental capacity, Connor, because you're not only are you wasting time with these little distractions, but you're wasting brain space. Like your brain is becoming clogged up with other things that might not necessarily be helping you, like the TikToks, right? You might be thinking about the TikToks that you were just watching rather than thinking about what you're trying to learn at that current moment. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, you have limited mental capacity, and you don't really want to get it all bogged up on things that don't really matter.
No, that's perfect, because I just Googled the definition of distraction. A thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else.
There you go.
So you're ruining the outcomes of the things you actually care about because you're giving up mental capacity to things that don't matter, which was perfect. I think that's great that you guys talked about that.
Last thing that I kind of want to talk about, and you guys can add in on this too, probably the biggest distraction in the world, and it's kind of a general word here, but stress. People are so distracted by stress. One of my favorite quotes is control what you can control and hand the rest off to God. That was Jack's dad that said that, and it's still one of my favorite quotes to this day because it's so true. When you're constantly worried and stressed out about certain things, it's completely taking up all your mental capacity. When you can truly live by that quote and you can take those things away that you can't control and just focus on what you can control, your mind clears up. You're able to focus on things better.
And people always talk and complain about stress. You create stress yourself by what you do and what you think, right? Yes, stress is a part of life, and sometimes stress can be a good thing. When you know something is important, you might stress about it. That's a healthy thing to have. But constantly stressing is you're doing that to yourself basically by your state of mind.
You're in control of your own mind, so you're creating that stress.
Exactly. So you can change the outcomes of your day through stress, right? And you're totally right. Stress is probably the biggest distraction for most people, right? Because those thoughts of stress, they do nothing to improve you. So it's actually getting you farther from your goals, right?
Yeah.
And that takes up a huge block of mental capacity, which is exactly the definition of a distraction, right? You're not giving full attention to what you want to achieve, so you're getting farther away from it.
Yeah, there's a literal, you literally feel like it's like weighing you down, like there's something on your back holding you back or something.
But you can always just take a step back, and you can control what your mind is thinking, therefore eliminating that stress.
It's like a cycle. Like when you can get rid of stress, you're eliminating a distraction, but when you eliminate other distractions, you can get rid of stress because you can be more productive.
That's actually a good quote.
It's like a cycle.
They're gonna start quoting off the court on like famous quotes.
You'll see us with like a inspirational picture of a sunset in the background.
That's funny. Okay, you guys want to get to a speed round quick?
Yeah.
Give me your best cheesy joke.
I have one. Ready? Knock knock.
Who's there?
The interrupting cow.
The interrupt.
Moo.
Okay. That was actually, I think I knew that one.
You like that one?
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you.
Okay, I got one. What do you call a pig that does karate?
I know that. It's so funny.
Pork chop.
That's awesome, dude.
All right,
Connor, you know it's funny. Why did the golfer bring 2 pairs of pants?
In case he got a hole in one.
Are you reading the same website I am right now?
That is so funny.
That question sucked. You guys are both looking on.
Okay, I couldn't think of it anymore. I came up with the first one.
Why do seagulls fly over the sea? If they flew over the bay, they would get bagels. Or they would be bagels. I said that wrong.
A bagel.
A bagel. All right, Connor, are you going to get one or are we going to move on?
Think of one.
What do you call an alligator detective?
I don't know.
An investigator.
That's awful. That's so bad.
Oh, that is funny. All right. We'll move on. Next quick round question.
Who is your top 3 of all time?
Okay.
NBA.
MJ, Giannis, and John Stockton.
Whoa.
Okay,
Wow.
my real top 3. MJ, LeBron, or no. MJ, Kareem, LeBron.
That's probably mine too, in a different order. LeBron is best.
How do you have MJ at 3? That's so disrespectful.
I don't. MJ's at 2. Kareem at 3.
Oh, you reordered everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Disrespectful. Aaron still hasn't watched The Last Dance, so I don't take validity to his statement of LeBron being better than Jordan.
Okay.
You also have horrible takes.
Can I say something?
No, we're not going to talk about Bob Cousy.
I want to talk. I will tell
You said you were better than Pete Maravich.
I am.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Off the Court. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, please don't forget to leave reviews if you haven't yet. This helps us with engagement and helps us rank higher to make an influence on more basketball lives. I also strongly encourage you guys to check out our free ebook download that's 25 pages long, how to unlock the mental side of the game. I was a player that was constantly grinding and constantly working, and it was really hard for me not to see results from the amount of work I was putting in. But this ebook that I wrote dives exactly into those types of questions. I was completely ignoring the most important part of basketball, which is the mental side of the game. So the 25-page ebook that I wrote is for you guys to give yourselves a leg up on your competition and almost like a secret weapon. I call it the basketball cheat code. Also, check out our website, ctghoops.com. On there, we got tons of programs that you guys can download to make yourselves a better basketball player. We have the CTG Productivity Notebook, helping you guys become addicted to productivity. Of course, in-person training. We are located now in multiple cities. And then we have the CTG blog, free education on becoming your best basketball self. Lastly, follow all our social media pages at CTG Hoops, where we post multiple times a day, trying to make you the best player and person that you can be. All the links for these are down in the description below. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys check out all the other episodes of Off the Court, and make sure you're ready for next week's episode. I'm Coach Jack. We out, baby. Peace.